Hey gang, I think TECHMARINE is an A tier class, prove me wrong. I've heard a lot of people poo-pooing him for being the weakest class in the game, but I disagree. He is weak health-wise, he's very squishy, but otherwise he's just kind of complicated. He has more build variety than a lot of the other classes, and he can feel clunky if you're trying to play him like Assault or Tech, but he is fast and feels pretty good if you can micromanage his class ability, Gunstrike, armor regen, and the combos of whatever weapon you're playing. The main thing I do agree on is the lack of shared cosmetics, but this was addressed in the community update and it will be fixed, so I'm not gonna dwell on that too much. So in terms of his main weapon, his melee weapon, he has the Omnissian axe. I've been using it on Heroic. I got it on Heroic as soon as TECHMARINE came out. It has a really nice Heroic perk. You just hold down your rush. It stacks up damage over time, up to 3 times, to get you more damage, which is really nice. I have heard some people saying the balance one is better. It does have a lot better cleave, and the balance weapons have got a massive update this patch as well. So if you prefer balance windows, then play that. It is very strong, but the perk on the Heroic one is just really nice as well, especially if you remember to do the charging. If you have trouble remembering to do the charge, then maybe do play the balance since you won't actually be using the perk for the Heroic, but I would recommend using the Heroic. It feels really nice if you get used to it. For power axes, I've been using the balance power axe with him. Again, like I said, the balance weapons have had a huge update this patch, so this feels really nice, especially for like getting Gunstrikes. But I'll get to the peak Gunstrike strats in a bit when I go through the how to play with the Omnissian axe. People seem to be struggling with it. It does take a little bit of nuance, I guess. You could play the block axe, which was the popular thing before patch 12, but you don't get as many Gunstrikes, obviously, because it's block. So I did play it with this on PTS, but I wouldn't recommend it now. I would stick to either the balance axe or the heroic Omnissian axe. The other thing I've been playing with is the combat knife. I normally do the Power Gladius, but the new Argent Edge one with the Scathing Retort perk, where the riposte window is shorter and each riposte deals damage. This one's really nice. It just makes the parry window like it's a block weapon, and you do get the damage on the ripostes as well. So that's super good because we love the damage. For the guns, I just used the heavy bolter. I did get the heroic one, but it is a really nice gun. You can kind of pick whichever you like. I'm just going to mainly focus on the Omnissian axe for this video, because it's a gun, you know how to use a gun. Same with the pistol. Because of the automatic Gunstrike, you probably won't ever use the pistol. So I think I played with the heavy bolter mainly just because I did have the heroic one that interrupts calling for reinforcements, but I did also play with the bolt pistol just because I liked the sound from the Raven Guard skin, but you won't really use it. Like, you've got your Gunstrike from your shoulder gun. So before we go into the gameplay, there is a lot of build variety. I'm not really a build guide person. I will not tell you what to use or whatever. You can find that elsewhere. This is just like kind of perks that I recommend or that stand out as being super useful or need a little bit of extra explaining. So on this first row, this row is pretty important in terms of your Servo-Gun. So taking the first one, Explosive Enfilade, this will keep your Servo-Gun at the regular machine gun bolter experience. So I tend to keep it on here if I'm going to a place that does not have a boss at the end, or if I'm playing on a difficulty that doesn't spawn a whole load of extremists all at the same time. If you are playing on Absolute and you are getting those 3 extremists at a time, I would recommend Precision Enhancement. This is basically that sniper round that I was saying about, so you get big damage but less bullets. And you probably want to pair this with Strategic Gunstrike, where the Servo-Gun only targets Majoris level or higher enemies and deals 20% more damage when the target is more than 20 meters away. I would probably pair these together, and I have been pairing these together. It kind of one-shots extremists. You can pretty much one-shot a Zoanthrope at least. And then down here we have the Plasma Enhancement, so this changes your Servo-Gun into a plasma gun, kind of. So it fires exploding plasma projectiles at your enemies. This is really nice. The explosion does give a knockback as well, and I think it can put Minoris into Gunstrike as well. But if you have this one, Omnissi's Fury, as your signature, then I kind of wouldn't recommend this, just because you then have 2 fire dots, and I don't think the fire dots stack. I think it's like they're either on fire or they're not on fire. I could be wrong on that though. I am just a casual gamer. Another one that I will mention is Arc Cleave. The damage from charged melee attacks increases by 20%. This is an absolutely goated perk in my opinion. I love this perk. This is great because if you're using your heroic Omnissian axe, you have the perk that increases the damage based on the duration of your rush. And I'm pretty sure this counts as a charged attack because it's essentially replacing your heavy attack. So I would take this. This is great. This is an amazing perk just for the Omnissian axe. Not sure if you would take it for any of the other melee weapons. Like if I was to play my power axe or my combat knife, I probably would not take this. I would probably take Omnissian axe deflection instead, or methodical destruction, and then just remember to use my grenades. For the team perks, I kind of keep it on reinforced position. If you are absolute soloing, I do understand the combat squad resupply being useful because you might not have time to just kind of stand around a turret for a bit because you don't have 2 other players kind of helping buff it and kill things as you're getting kind of mobbed if there's a horde coming. For battlefield repairs, I don't really see the point of this one. All squad members fully regenerate their armor and gain 1 additional armor segment when using Medicae stims. I can see it being useful because sometimes if you are like a newer player or you're less experienced and you kind of panic a bit, then maybe you're using a Medicae stim and you don't have any armor or you don't understand the importance of armor. Basically, you should always have armor, but you get armor back from Gunstrikes. You get armor back from executes. Pretty much most weapons have a perk on the weapon that has some sort of armor regen on it. So I feel like you would only be benefiting from this one if you were like maybe carrying people and they were doing like panic stims when they didn't have any armor because they didn't realize that they didn't have any armor or something like that. Because if you're gonna stim and you have no armor, your stim is just gonna get eaten by whatever is attacking you. So I do see the use case for that, but I don't know. But yeah, I normally take reinforced position. All squad members within 15 meters of an active tarantula sentry gun take 25% less damage and deal 15% more damage. This one only really works if your entire team realize that you have this perk and they are willing to kind of camp around a turret at least until that section of the operation or that horde is dealt with. It does kind of suck that there aren't any turrets in the boss rooms. I feel like that would be insanely OP, but I feel like that's the only real letdown for this. I feel like it wouldn't last very long in a boss room. It would pretty much get nuked down if it got the aggro, but I like this one. I run with this one mainly, and even if everyone else runs away from the turret, I tend to stick near the turrets just so I can keep them up kind of 24/7, because that is pretty much your role as TECHMARINE. If you're in a team, you're not soloing, you just want to kind of camp on the turrets and make sure that they're up as much as possible, because they are very useful. They are useful to everyone. So even if the squad is not within range for this perk, you do want to be that little bit more tanky with that 25% less damage while you're in vicinity of the turret. I will say in terms of this one, you will want to take Indomitable. This is the best perk of this class, like hands down. You become invulnerable to damage while activating Tarantula Sentry Gun. So when you're activating the Tarantula Sentry Gun, it takes about 2 or 3 seconds to activate. And during that time, if you don't have this perk, you will get knocked out of it, you will get hit, you will get everything. You can be like downed while activating a turret. So as soon as you prestige the first time, take this perk. This is so good. Okay, and then moving to the next section, the gear section. These are kind of things that just kind of affect mainly your Servo-Gun, and there are some really nice defensive ones here as well. So I like this one, Inexorable Salvo. While the Servo-Gun is active, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. I take this one if I'm taking the machine gun turret. If I'm taking these ones, then I don't really have time for this, because if you let the machine gun fire for its entire duration and you don't manually stop it, because you don't have to let your class ability to be used all the time. You can kind of stop it wherever you want and it'll just reload from there and then you can use it again. But if I'm using Inexplorable Salvo, I kind of want this to work when I'm fighting like an extremist or like a boss or something where I will be knocked back by heavy hits. And to have the maximum like effect of getting not knocked back, I would want the machine gun one because it lasts a lot longer than these ones that only have like a handful of bullets each. The other one that I really like is the Augmented Tarantula. This just gives it extra gun damage and ammo. This one works really well with Reinforced Position just because you will be keeping these up as long as you can if you take this perk. So this one's pretty nice because then it does the extra damage, and the ammo increase means that you can kind of run away and come back because it's not going to go down as fast. It does have a lot of extra ammo, which is nice. But at the moment, I've just been running augmented ammunition feed, so my Servo-Gun does recharge faster, so I can kind of spam it as much as I want to, especially with the machine gun. You kind of just want to have it perma turned on, just because then you don't really have to bother with Minoris ever, unless you have the Strategic Gunstrike perk, which means it'll only focus on Majoris, but I would not use the machine gun with the Strategic Gunstrike just because I feel like the machine gun bolter, the regular one, does not do enough damage for it to be worth this. So I would only really take this if I was taking Precision or maybe Plasma. And then you have Fortifying Salvo. This is just another armor regen, so killing or incapping a enemy with Servo-Gun restores 1 armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. It seems a little long and there are a lot of other ways to regain armor. I don't know if it cools down or like triggers if you are full armor, so then when maybe you do need armor it can be on cooldown, which is kind of annoying. But I don't really take this one too much. This one's pretty good, Replenishing Salvo. It just gives you back your equipment. I would kind of not take both of these at the same time, just because then like I don't really use that much equipment, but maybe if you do use a lot of equipment, you can take these. Maybe Methodical Destruction, have like full equipment build going on. For your signature perks, Decapitating Stratagem is pretty nice. I think when I was leveling, I literally just got Reinforced Position and Decapitating Stratagem every prestige until I was all 4, and then I just got everything and started playing around. So killing or incapping Majoris level or higher enemies with the Servo-Gun regenerates its ability charge by 100%, cooldown is 90 seconds. I did kind of have a think about this the other day because I wasn't sure if the Gunstrike counted as killing or incapping because it's not like the class ability button, it's just the Gunstrike button, so I don't know if that counts as you or the gun, but I think it does count as the gun. I think it would be very silly for that to not count as the gun. It might just be bugged because when I have had a Gunstrike, it has not recharged my ability to 100%. So it's either a bug and it's not working properly, or this does not recharge on Gunstrikes. We'll kind of wait and see. They are doing a hotfix in the next week or so we'll see if this gets any better. Lethal Perimeter, I've heard good things about, but I just can't get the hang of it. It kind of makes a circle, kind of like how you throw an Auspex, and then when you stand in that circle, your gun will just shoot things that enter that circle. So it's kind of nice to limit what your gun is aiming at, so rather than aiming at like the chaff, it is focusing on what you want it to focus on. And it does mean that your plasma enhancement and your precision enhancement does use less energy per shot, so it will fire for twice as long. It will have twice as many bullets essentially. So I do see the point of this, especially if you're fighting like a really hard extremist, then this is pretty good. But I find that I run around too much. I guess if you're sticking near your turrets because you have Reinforced Position, then you could put it sort of in front of your turret and just kind of make a bit of a wall for yourself. Because the other thing about the Servo-Gun is pretty much all of the bullets on the Servo-Gun have a little stagger to them. Like, TECHMARINE is a crowd control class. Pretty much everything you do adds stagger or knockback to something. You don't really want to be playing him super offensively. You kind of want to, you don't want to hang back, but you do want to get your parries down to a T. You do want to take advantage of your Omnissian rush with all of the knockback from those and getting all those free gun strikes on the Minorises. And yeah, you just want to get as many gun strikes to get the armor back. You want to just get as much knockback as you can so then things can't hit you. You want to get those parries on Majoris so that you can save that gunstrike for a bit to knock them out of their next attack, which is really useful. And yeah, the last signature perk, Omnissian Fury, like I said, it just sets things on fire. It's pretty nice. We kind of like this. I kind of prefer decapitating stratagem in writing, but I don't think it actually works right now. If you can get your head around lethal perimeter, then I would have a go with that. It does look very useful. I will be practicing a bit more with it. In terms of the prestige perks, I can't open them because I don't have any money. The ones that I do have, I think, are pretty much the best ones, and the other two that I would recommend, so the first prestige perk that I think everyone should get, I don't think this is even a question of whether you should get this one, is Indomitable. You become invulnerable to damage while activating Sentry Gun. So, like I said, when you activate a sentry gun, it's like 2 or 3 seconds to activate it. It is ages. You can be attacked. You can pretty much just die instantly. Well, not instantly, but in those 2 to 3 seconds, just because it takes a while. But this one, it's like, if you're running in Dark Souls and you see a door or a ladder, it's like, oh, invuln, save me, invuln. And you can just have that little window of like recollecting yourself and like stopping panicking and then turning around, and the gun will help you shoot things, and the gun will have stagger on their bullets. And more often than not, after you're done activating it, something will try and blue circle attack you, so you can just instantly get an easy parry and a gun strike to get your armor back if you do not have any. For my second perk, I did take Furious Gunstrike. After using Gunstrike, melee damage increases by 25% for 5 seconds. I think this is another kind of no-brainer, just because if you are doing the charge with the Omnissian Axe, then you are getting a lot of knockback on Minoris. And all of those knockbacks will get you a gun strike. So if you're just charging, just hold right click and just spam left click for the gun strikes that pop up while you're charging. It's just free armor. And then obviously when you stop charging, you get a bonus 25% melee damage for 5 seconds. So that's super nice. Love this. For the next 2 perks, there are kind of 4 that I would kind of look towards. So the first one is defensive stance. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 20% less damage from ranged attacks. So this is essentially Omnissian Axe deflection, kind of, or at least an alternate to it. So if you are, again, in a crowd, or this one in a crowd but parrying and blocking, you get a 20% less damage from ranged attack, and this one is 25% less damage from ranged attack. So I quite like this one just because if you are surrounded, it can be kind of hard to kind of either charge out of it because you might get knocked back or stunned or something, so you can't charge out of the pack. So I quite like this one, especially because of the increase in the snipers that have been spawning this patch as well. The last one I took is changed headshots. Headshot damage increases by 3% per consecutive headshot, up to a maximum of 15%. Bonus lasts 5 seconds without landing a headshot. So I kind of only go for headshots. I think everyone should kind of only be going to headshots. It's pretty much the only way to actually damage things properly. It's up to a maximum of 15%, and obviously it gets the little buff thing under your health bar so you can kind of keep track of what you're up to, and the bonus does last afterwards. So the other 2 that I would recommend is Stim Boost, which makes your stims restore 40% more health. This is fine, but like it feels like kind of a waste of a perk, because if you have the red stim packs, which aren't actually as rare as I thought they were going to make them be, you don't really need it. Like, and especially if you have a bulwark that can get you the contested health from banner, then you don't really need it. I think it's a bit of a wasted perk. It's just kind of thrown in to take up space. The other option is blast radius, which increases equipment damage radius by 15%. This does not affect your grenade launcher if you're using the heavy bolter with the grenade launcher heroic. So like this one, it does not affect the grenades in the grenade launcher. It might be obvious to everyone else, but it's a grenade. I just assumed that it counted as grenade damage, but it's separate. The last option I didn't take because it wasn't super useful in PTS, which is Volatile Sentry. Tarantula Sentry Gun explosion damage increases 1000% and the explosion radius increases by 20%. I haven't had the turrets explode on me very often. I have had them explode, but by the time they've exploded, I'm moving on to the next area, and it's just kind of like either killing the last couple of things that are behind me, or it's like, I don't need it anymore. So I don't really see the point of this. You're not really aiming to kill your sentry. Like, maybe if you're using it as some sort of like suicide bomber type sentry, then maybe, but I don't think this is super useful. I don't really see much of a use case for this, especially because like you don't have the sentries in the boss room, so it's not like you can drag the boss to a sentry, get the sentry to take aggro, and then have it explode when it dies. Like, that would be pretty good, but yeah, unsure on that one. But yeah, that's my opinion on the perks. On the axe itself, I just kind of went all the way across the top. If you go down the bottom, it's more of stuff for discharge, which is good. We love the discharge. That's the bubble attack where you hold down after a single attack or a couple of light attacks and then hold down for the like heavy attack. It won't send you into a sprint. If you just start holding right click as if you want to do a heavy attack, you will just start Omnissian rushing. So you do have to do that first light attack first. So if you take this entire first row, it just sort of boosts everything on your Omnissian rush. So when you go into a mission, you just want to Omnissian rush everywhere. Oh, there's a turret? Okay, stand at the turret, kill some stuff. Oh, okay, everything's dead. Omnissian rush to the next turret. It's super fun. I really enjoy it. If you do want to play with your axe, I just kind of go all the way along the bottom. This just increases like my power wave and my like power backstep stuff, and it gives me that 100% from contested health, which is really nice with the red stim pack that just heal you through contested health. So you still have to do some work to get the health back, but this is a really big help for that, because then you can just keep playing and not worry about whether or not you're getting an execute or something to fill it up. You can just spam your right click, which is pretty good. On the combat knife, I do just kind of take, again, just the bottom row. There isn't a lot of build variety on the weapons themselves. It's just 2 lines. You can kind of go up and across, but I just kind of go across. I'm kind of lazy with this. So I just have extra melee. I get replace the heavy swing with a shadow stab just because it's a lot of extra damage. And then I just have these last ones because otherwise you go up here, but then you can only get 1 of them, but I'd rather have 2 of the relic perks just because they're the higher experience ones, so they must be better, right? But yeah, that's kind of how I would explain TECHMARINE. I'm going to be playing with some people tomorrow on stream, and if anyone has any questions as well, I stream most days, especially on the weekend. I do stream every weekend. I'm normally painting on the weekend, but I have been spamming out the Space Marine game. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know. I am a casual player, so I thought I would explain this in a kind of newbie, easy to understand kind of way. So on the gameplay, in terms of the Omnissian axe, we have a couple of combos. So the combos are these. You have the light combo, which is just click, 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 click with your little mouse, and it'll do a combo, max of 3. At power discharge, you can hold at any point during this combo or just after any attack, and it does like a little bubble of explosion. I'll show you that one as well. And the sweeping whirl, you can only really do it while dodging or while sprinting. I do this a lot, so. Also, with the Omnissian axe, we have these unique abilities, the Omnissian rush. So when you hold down your melee button, you will start running, and you're pretty fast. You're faster than a sprint, I think, but like only just. And it does have a limit. The Omnissian strike is when you tap. Omnissian strike is when you do one or a couple of taps after your Omnissian rush, and it just kind of smacks it down. And Impaling Strike is when you've charged up your rush, so you can charge your rush up to 3 times. I'll show you what that looks like. So then you can hold it down and do like a nice little stabby, 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 stab. But like, it depends how many charges you have from the rush for how many stabby stabs it does. So I'll show you that. So for the light combo, I'll just kind of go through these before enemies, and then I'll go into enemies and kind of show them and try and call out which ones I'm doing. So for your light combo, it's like 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. And then if you want to do the power discharge, you want to do like a... and it does an explosion that does a lot of damage. And then we have sweeping whirl, so if I'm sprinting, I can just chow. I really like that one, it looks really pretty. And then for the Omnissian specials, if you hold right click, he will just start running forwards. You don't even need to hold W. Okay, so that's what the charge looks like, the Omnissian rush by itself. For the Omnissian strike, we have a tap after the charge, so if we're just charging, 1, 2, 3. And we do that. And I can't show you the Impaler strike until we get to an enemy, because you do have to smash into an enemy before doing it. So I'm just gonna go over here, I'm gonna go to these ones, and we're gonna have a go through the things. I do have the testing menu mods turned on, so I shouldn't die, but so 1, 3, that's just your basic attack, just light attacks kind of like that, and then you have the explosion. I'll show you that one. Cow. And then we'll try an Impaler strike on this one. I don't know if we can get it charged up. There you go.
Incoming spore mines confirmed.
Little whirlwind and then an explosion. I'm not really looking at the parries because I'm just kind of showing the attacks right now.
Silence the enemies before they request backup.
So if I Impaling Strike on one of these, we're gonna go like this. And then because we had 2 charges, 3 charges, we did that. Pretty good. And that's a really nice little damage thing. So that's pretty much all of the melee things. So again, I'll do it on the Ravener because it's got more health. We do the light attacks like this. And then we can do a discharge. Like this. So pretty much all of these have stagger on them, which is pretty nice, so everything kind of gets knocked back no matter what you do. And then we have sweeping whirl, so I'll just go sprint, and then we click. Pretty good. And then for Omnissian Rush, like I just showed, we'll do this, and then if I just tap at the end, it'll do a normal strike, and it'll leave this field, because I have a perk that leaves a little stun grenade field there. And then for the Impaling Strike, I'll just do it again. Like that. Pretty good. So the other thing that TECHMARINE does is that you can essentially just have infinite Gunstrikes, which means infinite armor regen. So if we run through this guy, he's gonna get stunned, and it will give us a Gunstrike while he's down. So if we get a pack of Minoris like this, and we're low on armor, I'm not low on armor, but imagine I am, we can do the charge through the Minoris and get all of these Gunstrikes, and we can Gunstrike while we're doing it because the Gunstrike is automatic from your Servo-Gun. The other thing you can do that I think people kind of mess up is they instantly Gunstrike on Majoris when they get a Gunstrike. What you want to be doing is getting a Gunstrike from a parry and then waiting until they start another attack combo and then doing the Gunstrike. So you get the knockback stagger on them on the initial parry, and then you can use your Gunstrike as a secondary knockback to stop them from attacking while you're then doing a combo or something into them. So if we turn back on them attacking me, I can just show you this real quick as well. Let me go back down here. I'll also turn on this sentry gun as well, so you can just see the sentry gun. I do have the Indomitable perk, which means I am invulnerable when interacting with it, which is nice. Okay, so we have a warrior. If I parry him, there's now a Gunstrike. I can now start a combo, and then when he starts attacking me again, I can knock him back out of his combo, rather than just instantly gunstriking like that and kind of wasting that second knockback. So again, if I do it... Okay, that's... If I parry that, I start attacking, I can Gunstrike... Oh, he's dead. Okay. So here, we have the parry, we have the Gunstrike, and then if he wants to start attacking again, we can knock him out of that before our Gunstrike goes away, because the Gunstrike stays up for a little while. So again, okay, so with this guy, see, I can parry him, and then he'll start attacking again, but to knock him out of his attack, I can then Gunstrike and save that Gunstrike to knock him out of that second combo. So then if we do some little charging, we can do some stabby stabs. So when I say you can charge up your rush, that's basically, if you look at the blade of the axe, when I'm charging, you see it's flashing? It flashes 3 times. I ran too long. But it flashes 3 times, and that is the amount of charge that you have. 3 is the maximum charge. So if we do one on this guy, we only got 1 Impaler Strike because it was only charged once, whereas this guy, he's further away. So if we get all 3 charges and Impaler Strike, we get all 3 and we can pretty much just one-shot a Majoris, which is really nice. So for my Servo-Gun, I'm just going to show it with this Lictor real quick. I have it set to the default machine gun turret on the Servo-Gun. So this is just essentially a bolter on my shoulder. So if I do get kind of swarmed by things while I'm trying to focus on something like the Lictor, I can just activate it and it kind of clears everything around me. It will probably shoot at the Lictor as well, but it does clear everything around me, and it does have that knockback as well. See how it staggers them when it shoots them? It knocks them out of their attacks, and it's a really useful kind of little thing. So you can use that to either have a little panic run away, or if you're trying to focus on maybe an extremist or something, then it helps with that because it kind of just keeps everything else kind of knocked back. So if you're using precision enhancement on your Servo-Gun, you probably wanted to have it on the Majoris perk, so your Servo-Gun only targets Majoris level or higher enemies, because it can pretty much just one-shot a lot of them, and you don't want to waste that on Minoris, since you don't have as much ammo in that as on the default Servo-Gun. There is also the plasma enhancement, you can use that as well, which just kind of sets things on fire.
Automatic weaponry engaged. Servo-Gun is fully operational.
The machine gun Servo-Gun is also super useful for the spore mines, and there was a lot of spore mines in last week's weekly, and it did help with that.
Servo-harness gun available.
So yeah, that's kind of the basics of TECHMARINE in terms of the weapons. It's just kind of learning the combos and remembering, sort of taking yourself out of that muscle memory of gunstriking and just holding the gunstrike, not really for as long as you can, but just until they start attacking again so that you can knock them back out of their next combo while still having the gunstrike up and using that gunstrike to knock them out of that combo. It also, on the default machine gun bit, it does one-shot Minoris, which is nice. So if you have trouble with getting swarmed with Minoris, then I would probably stick to the machine bolter one. But if you think you have more trouble on extremist, depending what gun you're using for your primary, then I would recommend either the plasma or precision enhancement as well. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped. Let me know if I didn't explain anything. I think I kind of showed everything in the gameplay. I'm sorry the gameplay was kind of bad. I was just trying to kind of show the combos as much as I could. And yeah, okie dokie.